All right, still related to the issue and also to commemorate International Human Rights Day 2022, we're now going to talk about providing equitable rights for young workers. Joining us here in the studio is Emancipate Indonesia Executive Director and Mas Margianta Surahman. Good morning.
Morning, Mas Gian.
Mas Gian.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming to our studio.
Bright and early, first talk show as well.
Yes, first off, you want to say hi to your family probably, no?
Well, yeah. Hi, Mom. I'm here.
In case somebody's watching. Mom's up bright and early today. So let's talk a little bit about this issue. This has been an issue that has been ongoing before the World Cup, during the World Cup. Let's talk a little bit about modern slavery. We've heard this term a lot lately. Can you explain a little bit about what is modern slavery?
Well, I'm very happy that I get to talk about this here, but this is a very recurring issue, not only during the World Cup, but also before, and it is being faced by many Indonesian migrant workers also abroad. If we're talking about modern slavery is a situation where you are trapped in an exploitative practices, whether it's forced labor, forced marriage, forced sexual exploitation, or even human trafficking in its worst form. So basically, you are trapped, you are being forced in a situation that you don't want to be in, and you are being taken advantage of either for economic interest or other kinds of interests.
So when you say forced labor, is it, what is actually the definition of that? Because a lot of these workers actually willingly went there to work. Is it because the poor working conditions, or were they not, are they not fulfilling what was promised to them? What is exactly forced labor?
Yeah, exactly. So forced labor or like even, harassment in workplaces, no workers ask for that in the first place. Of course, they have to work abroad sometimes to find better, chances, opportunities. But then, at some point, of course, they got duped, they got manipulated. So nobody asked for this. This is why we don't never say there is illegal immigrants. There's no illegal humans. It's just undocumented migrants, and they have all the rights to be, to have decent work conditions, just like every one of us.
Okay, yes. Based on your experience, what are the factors led the modern slavery?
Right. So the factors actually sometimes social cultural norms. Maybe we have debt bondage; it's still happening. Then forced marriage because of cultural norms sometimes. But also it's also about economic interests of the minority, the top 1%, I would like to say. These big companies, sometimes they source, their palm oil from these very exploitative practices in plantations. We have the recent cases, right? The human cage.
In the UK, right?
Yeah, also in Indonesia, a human cage cases
true.
in the home of one of the former regents.
Last year, is it?
Last year, yeah. So basically, it is still happening, sadly. And actually, today, we have more people enslaved than all of the history of mankind.
Wow.
Yes.
Even compared to like back in the day,
Even when
there was
it was
actual
legal.
slavery.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Even when it's legal.
Yeah. So what is what's that situation like? Are there any laws in place? Let's talk specifically about Indonesia because it is happening here as well. What is in place currently when it comes to laws or rules or regulations to try to help protect these?
Well, we have the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights. We have some ministries, right, to work on this issue. Also, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs taking care of our cases for our migrant workers. We have activists, we have non-profits. Everyone is working on this issue, but it's not enough. This is why I'm very happy to be here today to share about this, because everybody can be a victim. We're not talking only about people in so-called rural areas. We're talking also about people who are in urban areas who are being exploited, like domestic workers in your friend's home. Do they work with no contract? Do they work very underpaid and overworked and etc.?
What are their living conditions like as well?
Exactly. So it's not enough to just count on national regulations. It's also up to us as well. If we have the awareness to hold, people accountable, especially our closest ones. So, yeah.
Oh, so that is very important for us as a worker, for sure. To check the documents, to check what
when
our
you're hiring
rights,
somebody,
exactly.
Of course. So what
our rights and what's not our job and everything. I think that is very important to put the details.
I'm curious as to if I'm an employer and I'm mistreating somebody that I'm employed and I get reported, what can happen to me?
Well, actually, there is the local, department of, Ministry of Workforce of Labor, right? And you can actually report to them, right? and if you have like an unfair treatment from your workplace, we're not only talking about layoff, we're talking also about harassment, etc. And now we also have the, it's become a bill recently, the anti-sexual violence bill and everything. So because workplace is not only about earning a living, about the wage, about the working hours, about the workloads, but it's also about how you feel comfortable in your workplace, your sexual violence, free of sexual violence, and also mental health, so you're not burned out, etc. So actually, when I talk about modern slavery, it's not only about those extreme conditions like human trafficking, but also about like
mental situation.
And white collar workers, those who work in high-rise buildings, in S.J.D, the dream,
all the district businesses.
All the district businesses, that can happen to you too.
Okay, so this is interesting, Mas Gian. You mentioned about not just happen in rural area, also us in urban areas. Sometimes we're facing those kind of things that makes us uncomfortable in the workplace, but we didn't notice, is that a modern slavery or something? Because we don't know how to identify that. Since you mentioned it, now it's become very clear. What about the internships? Sometimes, some of the interns face a lot of issues at the workplace, like low or even no pay at all.
No pay? Who works for no pay?
Exactly, for the internship. They got the nasi kotak.
Yeah, true. Get the meal.
Menial labor and like a protection. So what employment rights do interns have?
So
that is also challenging. There's a lot of interns now.
Never thought about that.
Exactly. So this has become normalized, right? When you want to intern at a place, ideally according to the Permenaker number 6, year 2020, it should be a mentorship. It's not like you come to a place and then like you jump on the training, like this is your work, and you learn how to swim while you learn how to not drown at the same time. No, you have to be mentored, right? And you deserve some, at least compensation for your transport and consumption and everything. But what happens is a lot of internship in Indonesia are not being implemented, basically according to this law. And this law doesn't even protect everyone. This law only protects young people who actually have graduated. So if now it's a trend. High schoolers now do internship as well. Even I saw like junior high schoolers were offered to do this kind of internship jobs. They are not protected by the law, and even
they're still students.
Exactly, and college students even, right? When they graduated, when they graduated, and then they are protected. But this is not even enough. This law. So basically, we cannot only count on law. It's also based on us interns, like young interns at home. If you want to apply for an internship, just like when you want to apply for a job, what are the benefits? What are the workloads? Is it going to be a proper mentorship, right, etc. So I think it's very important for us to see the fine print in our job contracts or even internship contracts, because once again, we cannot only rely on the law. Sometimes the working class needs to rely to each other.
By the way, interns are always the one that works the hardest too, I know.
Exactly.
They're the ones that have to do all the work that nobody else wants to do.
They come very early and they never go back home.
Right, they have to stay.
Like they are
get a bed on the side there. So
that's poor.
It seems to me a little bit of a systematic problem when it comes to this, because if you have to graduate in order for you to be considered a worker or an employee, but most internships, the whole purpose of doing an internship is to try to be able to get your credits to graduate and then get a job. So does something need to be fixed systematically? Because it seems a bit broken, if you ask me.
Once again, it's been sadly it's been a trend recently, like to deregulate the labor laws, like loosen the labor laws, loosen the workers' protections in this country on many levels. I mean, it's an elephant in the room. We all know what I'm referring to. But once again, my point here is not to only rely on the law, but also rely on each other. When you have enough info, you tell your friends, you raise the awareness, and most importantly, to unionize. We even now have this in Twitter. We have a Serikat Magang, unions for interns. They're not even workers, and they are sharing info. So like, these are the tips for you to get a good paid internship, etc. Because we have to rely on each other. At the end of the day, we have to be in solidarity with each other as a working class.
That's the whole purpose of a union to begin with, to protect a group of people who otherwise don't have a community of protection.
Especially when it's happening in social media platform. Can you imagine when someone for their complaints or everything, they will protect each other. Especially for the young generation, they use social media very well. They know how to how to manage their
how to go
well-being, of course. If they're not feeling comfortable, they will just quit.
That's right.
Right.
These days.
Exactly.
So let's talk about a little bit about how you've outwardly promoted workers' rights and their relation to global health, global mental health summit. You actually wrote an article for UNICEF as well. You made a speech at the Global Mental Health Summit that, as I mentioned. What do you think of this? You mentioned about quitting.
Quitting.
Everyone's quietly quitting. Or what is it called? Quiet quitting? Is that what it's called?
Quitting.
Is this phenomenon?
Well, quiet quitting is not a new phenomenon. It's been forever since the railway workers in France, and then there's a Tangping movement last year in China, etc. So basically, quiet quitting is a situation when you decided one day you're not going to do extra mile in your work anymore.
Yes.
You're not going to take any more initiative. You're not going to take any extra
Nothing extra.
hours.
Just quit.
And
I'm
Monday
done.
that feels like a Sunday,
Right.
a Sunday that feels like a Monday is no longer anymore. I'm just going to work based on my job contract because I'm not appreciated enough. They never pay me the extra hours. They never give me extra benefits. Why should I give more to this company when they don't give me back in return what I deserve, right? So basically these are the quiet quitting movement, and this becoming more viral. It's not a new thing once again, but it's becoming more viral because we are living in a social media era. And then in LinkedIn, of course, not only the bosses who brags about, oh, I found this inspirational sob story from my workers. But now the workers get to also get their sob story out front. This is how my company is treating me. This is why I'm going to help.
They're very critical and very vocal.
Exactly. So quiet quitting is actually one condition that actually when people do quiet quitting in a massive scale, it's better for them to actually at one time to be a support system to each other. This is not an individual problem. Sometimes we blame ourselves. You're poor, you're not good enough because you don't work hard enough, but but you're not the only one who feels that. And when you come with your friends together, you make a WhatsApp group without your boss, and then you talk about how to negotiate, right? Because when you come together as a union, you don't beg, you negotiate to your boss. It's not me, it's not only me, the one who feels like we are overworked and underpaid. My friends also feel it too. So
strength in numbers.
Strength in numbers, exactly.
Okay.
So
is this related then? Because is this quiet quitting phenomenon, the latest iteration of it, is it related to the fact that people feel like they don't have good working conditions and all of the things that we discussed?
It relates to that as well because, and most importantly, is about the mental health, right? You mentioned about mental health. Many people do quiet quitting because they have burnouts, and it's been linked in many research that a workplace condition, your wage, your workload, and everything relates so much with your mental health, right? And even though you say, oh, I'm paid so handsomely, I can just go to Bali for a getaway in the weekend and then forget everything that
Jakartans call it healing.
Yeah, healing. But then what happens, that healing is only escapism. You can never get back the lost hours that you lost with your family, with your loved ones. You lost all of those moments. So some stuff are not worth traded for just short-term escapism to Bali. No offense to Bali. I haven't been there. I want to be there. But
I always relate this to an analogy of, you want to look at it simply, look at it like sleep. You can lose sleep one night, you're not going to get it back just because you sleep extra the next day.
Just lack of sleep.
What you've lost is you've already lost.
The month.
Shafira just went healing to Bali last week.
And the midweek we had brain fog.
Yes, like me, and I forget my friends' names. So let's talk a little bit about this issue. Where are we going from here? We have this standoff now between workers and workers now having a voice. Companies still trying to watch out for that bottom line. Bottom line is very important. We've got to guard that profit margin. So where do we find this middle road?
Right.
The win-win solution.
It has always been there, basically, when you make the workers meet with the companies, with their employers, there's going to be a power relation. It's too, the one is too powerful, one is not. But then when we come in numbers, in strength, we can negotiate better, right? So and the government needs to be there. The government needs to be there. Not I'm saying as a referee. No. Sometimes even they say like, oh, we think about the business people and also about the workers. The business people can take care of themselves because they are already the top 1%. I'm talking about the top 1% in this country. Like the richest of the richest, they can take care of themselves. They don't need BPJS, etc. Right? They don't have dirt. They don't relate to us. We have dirt. We have basically. So I think the government needs to be there for the workers instead of like saying, also we'll think about the business. Business people can think about.
So you're saying that the government should actually be taking a side, more to
the workers.
Exactly.
And the union.
It's about time. We have recently a mass layoff in the tech, in the tech startup companies.
Yeah.
We have also, burnout workers. We have the ojol drivers, right? Are they workers? Are they not?
Yeah.
They don't have their full
In
rights.
the gray area.
Yeah, in the gray area. All of these uncertainties. If we want to move forward as a country, we want to grow our middle class people, give them job security, social security, give them what they deserve. They work hard, to be there for this country, right?
Yeah.
But they got paid, very, very little.
Yeah.
While the minority get to enjoy, get overpaid and have
It's
short
a bit of an imbalance.
vacations.
And
Exactly.
if I may add, when I first moved here about 20 years ago, I would say that the middle class was actually the smallest group of people, the working class, if you will. And now that has completely changed. It's actually,
Bigger.
the numbers are already there.
bigger,
It's just a matter of
yes.
putting the proper rules and regulations to protect them.
One of the most important part, I think, the medium and the number as well. And then you mentioned about the government. The government have to be exist in this chaotic situation about the working culture. The government may have created labor regulations or law. What more to be fixed by the government?
More labor protection. I think, start from, I just mentioned about mass layoff.
Yes.
Don't make layoff too easy. That's because of the recent law change with the Cipta Kerja, etc. Right? So that's just one. I mean, we can go on for hours for what is defined.
You mean to hold the corporations accountable and not just to be able to lay off?
Exactly, right? So basically, the government needs to be there for the workers, for the working class. If they are not there, who is going to be there? The working class can unionize and negotiate, but they need all the help they can get. So basically, that's my dream is, for Indonesian working class to actually have a say in the economy that we're building in this country. So we don't only make profits for only the one who benefits from our economy is not only the top 1%, but also the working class who are working paycheck to paycheck. We're talking about Indonesia's economy mostly are consisted of informal workers. When you are informal workers, you live day by day, a freelance worker. I am a freelance worker also. I see myself as a pangamen, right? Because I move from one job to another. But because of
That's the joke, right? That's we always
that's
joke.
The joke, right? The pangamen, right? The gig, say what
From
it
one
is.
to another stage.
Exactly. So many people have side hustles, etc. So then maybe the government have to wonder, why do people have to get side jobs?
Right.
Maybe it's not only hobbies for some. Maybe because they do need. It's a necessity. Maybe their primary job cannot, afford healthcare, cannot afford, the money that they need to send back to their family or education, etc. So it's also come back to also like how the government have to provide like accessible education and everything. So then we don't have to get out of pocket expenses. So everything is relatable. So but at the heart of it is, I think, working class rights starts from workers' rights. As individual, I think I would like to encourage young people to realize that actually, first, their rights as workers. Second, don't be afraid to negotiate and unionize.
Yeah.
And third, working is not only about making money. It's also about your family, your loved ones. So not everything can be compensated. I'm talking about to the privileged workers here who said like, I'm well off because I get to get the best skincare and everything. You're lying to yourself. You lost all of those hours and everything, and you cry at night because, oh my God,
because
I can't hold
we're
it
feeling
anymore.
detached with
Exactly,
ourselves.
detached. So it affects your mental health as well. It's not only about making money, it's about your mental health, it's about your relation with your family. Because once again, my message here is we don't live to work. We work to live. So work is not the only thing in our life, and that is the main point that we should put in our head every time we dress up and go to work every day.
And be like me. My Mondays feel like Sundays.
Of
not the other way
course,
around.
your Sunday feels like Sunday, of course.
Every day feels like Sunday to me. Masgian, thank you so much for your time. Very well said.
Thank you so much, Masgian. Thank you so
we
much.
hope that you and all of us here can help you to enlighten more and more workers out there in regards to their rights and their protections. In the meantime, we have to take another short break, you guys, but when we return, we're going to recap some of our earlier top stories from around the world when we return.